So Robin O'Connell, Chief Revenue Officer of Uphold, flying here from San Francisco. They have a large office, a couple of large offices in Portugal, in Porto and Braga. I met Marco in Braga when we were talking.
Yeah.
Yes. I met Robin in San Francisco on Zoom. It's actually the first time we're meeting in person,
Exactly.
physically.
Yeah. We live in.
We live 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I think I met Marco physically, who came out of Braga before I met Robin, who lives 10 minutes away from me, and Marco lives half a world away.
Yeah.
Lisa is in the US. You've met her during the course of the dinners. And the question really is, Chief Revenue Officer, Marco, Chief Innovation Officer, and Lisa. And then the question is, why did we put Lisa on?
I'm wondering that myself.
Because if we just leave Robin and Marco, they'll sell the company to us. But if we put Lisa in, she'll challenge them a little bit. So that's your job.
Or get a commission.
Or get a commission. We love Uphold because it's enabled us to do what we do really efficiently. It enables all of us to make those transactions, doesn't matter where you were in the world, to make things happen quickly. And I love their tagline, anything to anything, right? So if you're in crypto, you need to get out, change it to fiat, buy something on Link2, happens seamlessly, quickly. There are some hiccups that we're going to solve, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Robin's working on it.
Yeah. So I'd like for you guys to take it away, talk to us about Uphold. Una, by the way, was with us on Monday.
Yeah.
She ran an awesome masterclass. It made a lot of people here feel a little bit more comfortable with some of the challenges that Uphold is going through. But not only Uphold, any business that's involved with what you do, depending on the infrastructures and the regulations in various parts of the world, are facing the same challenges. And she was able to set a landscape that educated us a little bit more about challenges that most companies are going through because of regulations in various parts of the world. So she set the stage. So that's not what we're going to talk about. What we would like to talk about, I think, apart from your agenda, but I think a lot of people want to hear too today, is the direction that you're taking Uphold. What are the new innovative things that you're seeing, doing, and addressing, apart from your suggestions today? And so,
we thought you were talking about accessibility and freedom beyond just a wallet. So we're not prepared to talk about Uphold.
Okay.
You already did that for us. We appreciate it. Yeah.
There you go. Take it away.
So, just quick introductions. My name is Robin O'Connell. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Uphold, and I run our B2B business. I'll explain I'll explain right now. So basically, you guys probably know Uphold is a digital wallet, and hopefully you have an account and you're using it, et cetera, et cetera. The part that I do is I find basically everything that we have on the wallet runs off of a platform, and we basically built it this way. And then we have APIs connected to the platform, and then we can work with other companies and basically get involved in their flows and their use cases. And then they're just using our platform to instantly convert one digital asset to another, move digital assets across the blockchain, whatever they need. And we'll probably talk about, but I'm supposed to be the moderator, apparently. So I'm gonna stop talking. So that's who I am. And who are you?
All right. So I'm Marco Oliveira. I'm Chief Innovation Officer at Uphold. I joined somewhat recently. I've been there for less than a year. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a background in engineering and design. I was running my own studio for 5 years, and we had actually been working with Uphold for quite a while, and that eventually gave way to, hey, how about you join us and start working exclusively with us? And that's what we did. The challenge was very interesting. We were on our own path, also working partly in Web3 and crypto, but not so much as Uphold, of course. but the challenge sounded really, really cool. And we were brought in into the company to inject the company with some new energy, because every now and then it's nice to do that. And I was brought in personally, I think, mostly to challenge the status quo and make whatever was feeling stale and old, turn it into something new. So I'm the entrepreneur in residence, kind of, and willing to just piss people off inside the company. That's what I do.
That's a good job.
Yeah. I'm picking fights left and right. But it has been good. It has been good.
Very good. And then will you please introduce yourself, Lisa?
Sure. My name's Liza Lank, and I have been in the beer business for 27 years. I don't have a Wall Street pedigree. I've never worked on Wall Street. I am a beer salesman. And I then after 27 years, I opened a consulting company and was there for a couple of years. Then COVID happened, and I decided, crypto, I wanted to learn more about crypto, and got into not only the cryptoverse and started trading on crypto, but then also got more into this whole concept of decentralization and democratization. What did that mean? And I'm somebody that needs to kind of touch and feel things. And so I kind of went down the rabbit hole, watched a lot of YouTube, started looking at who Ripple was partnering with. And now I'm kind of in the gaming space in terms of operating servers and nodes, and just kind of learned the hard way. And I'm doing some decentralized finance as well. So I have a number of wallets. So nice. That's, I guess, why I'm on this panel.
Wallets is what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So, I thought it'd be good to maybe delve into just wallets in general, and, because there's, DeFi wallets or centralized wallets, we're talking about Web3. What does that mean exactly? So maybe I'll start with you. What wallets do you use today?
Yeah.
And why, and what do you like about them or not?
Sure. So probably the first wallet I got access to was really Uphold. Now Uphold is also an exchange, so they have to KYC and AML you, right? You have to in order to get an account, you have to do that. So that's actually been a great process. I was able, obviously they've got XRP, one of the few things in the US, few exchanges in the US that you can have. XRP, you can buy XRP. And then I also have the MetaMask wallet, which is a private wallet, private key wallet. So you have a 12-word or a 24-word. Anytime you have to write down words, that's a private wallet. So it's not a centralized wallet. And so I've got MetaMask. I'm doing Safe Node with Safe Haven. I think Jordan talked a little bit about Safe Haven. So I'm staking on Safe Node. I'm also doing Bifrost, because you had Songbird that you could stake, and then also Hashpack with HBAR. So I'm staking with HBAR, and there's a 50% return right now with Stetter. So I'm doing a lot of different things from a staking perspective, and it's fun. It's asymmetrical returns, a lot of great opportunities because we're so early. And the nice thing about it, when you talk about freedom, no one's checking on that wallet. There's no centralized authority that's saying, hey, we got issues with this wallet. I've got the private keys. So, no other centralized party can stop me from doing anything with that wallet.
Yeah, and I guess one of the things I'd like to delve into is, you've got these centralized wallets where if you take the basic philosophy of, Bitcoin in general and crypto in general, it's all about the decentralization, right? Or maybe I'll have you comment on that. But I'm a pretty practical guy, and there's definitely some pros and cons to decentralization. Like one con would be your boyfriend losing however much he lost by just losing his keys, right? There's no customer support you can call. So it feels to me, and I know I'm not supposed to, I'm the moderator, so I gave my opinion here, but basically it feels to me like there's this And by the way, I've been in this industry since 2015, and there's always been this really strong philosophy about, you know, owning your own keys, and right, and if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. You've heard that a million times. And there have been people burned for being on a centralized, but there's also been people burned for being on a decentralized. So I'll just throw this out there and get your thoughts. We'll have a debate. But, you know, to me, there's some middle ground, you know, in life. There's usually some middle ground, right? And so, you know, if Web3 is really going to be successful, first of all, what the hell is Web3? Let's you know, talk about that. Does it have to be 100% decentralized? I don't think so. Right? And why? What will drive people to go to Web3? Those are some questions.
I'd like to weigh in a bit on that.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on what you value. Why are you using whatever service or application that you're using? So you define acceptable risk for specific uses, and then you potentially spread around. Now, also having a design background, and when I first started getting into the space, what I felt was, yeah, so I'm a technical person, so I do understand how these things work. But I'm also a designer, and I understand most people do not understand what's happening. They do not have what it takes to manage their keys or well, anything to manage the technical part of it. Just the other day we were talking about MetaMask, and it is very useful, but most people will not be adding networks manually. Like it's just simply not going to happen. Even technical people have a hard time sometimes doing that. So the average Joe will simply not do that. So we just need to do better in terms of a user experience, understanding how people expect to interact with these applications, and then we just have to do better. And I actually have one good example. Sometimes I use. I was in the web ever since Web 1. I was creating stuff when I was a kid already as a developer. And I was excited about it. Most people were not excited about what I was putting on the web. Why was that? Participation. It was hard for them to get access to it. That was one, because they were not quote unquote computer people. Like they didn't like to use a computer. They didn't own a computer, and for sure they were not content creators because they were not programmers. So they could not create something and publish on the web. Then came along Web 2.0 or Web 2, whatever you want to call it, and it democratized the access to content, and more important, the content creation. So you have social media, for instance, enabling anyone to create content. So it built on top of existing habits that people already have. And by the way, there was a time where sharing personal stuff on the web was super weird for people, and now we just take it for granted. But anyway, what I mean is we had to build the right tools that the mass market was willing to use, because they understood how easy it was to use. And the way it is right now, the state of accessibility in wallets in general, that's my opinion. I have different opinion from Uphold. I think we're doing a bit better on that front. But in general, most wallets are way too complicated for most people. They just do not understand how to work with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would totally.
And so you worked in Web 1, you worked in Web 2.
Yeah.
Maybe from a design standpoint, describe what is Web 3 and why are we doing it?
So, loaded question. There are several sides to it. Building up on what I was saying, Web 1 mostly about publishing content. Web 2 is mostly about participating in content creation. Web 3, I think, so you're participating in value creation. In Web 3, I think the big shift is you're participating in value capture, democratizing participation in value capture. And you can see the ecosystems that exist out there. I mean, look at all decentralized exchanges. That's a good example. They build decentralized exchanges by having smart contracts that are able to trade assets that they didn't build those assets. And it's just interoperable because everything is out there. So you as a creator, as a programmer, you are able to step into this market and use everything that's already there interoperable, and create your own thing on top of it. So that's very different. Another aspect that these people, because I think it's almost like a philosophy behind Web3. It's not just about you are integrating with stuff that's already out there, but you're also thinking, how do I create an ecosystem that allows other people, again, democratizing access to the value creations. NFTs are a good example, and we had a nice conversation the other day about gaming and brands and how everyone is able to step into these platforms and create stuff, even though they don't understand necessarily the technology. So it's layered. To a certain point, you are, as an engineer and a designer, you are designing systems on top of which people will be able to operate without understanding the underlying technology, but you are enabling them to be their own shop. How do I put it? They're not just producing and leaving stuff out there. They are creating and also capturing, owning the value of the creation that they're doing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
we can dig a bit more.
What you talked a little bit about we aren't there yet in terms of it's just clunky, the wallets.
Yeah, it is.
Where do you, is that a year away? Is that 2 years away? Is that 5 years away? Like, when does it become more intuitive and people start embracing it a little bit more?
So right now, I think the market's a bit fractured. There are maybe too many solutions. And going back to some of what Greg was talking about the identity, and there are a bunch of things around this, the IDs, verifiable credentials. Greg touched a bit on that. So these are nice standards that hopefully wallets will start to embrace more, and applications will also start to embrace more, because then you get interoperability between wallets as well. You have some level of interoperability, but not full in terms of everything that you're doing via your identity on this Web3. Then it's really, I don't know how long it takes. It's really not rocket science the way I see it, making the experience a lot better. But the Uphold experience, for instance, I think it's a lot better than most. It really depends on how willing these companies, these engineers and designers behind all these projects, how willing they are to actually make the user experience better. And why do I say this? When I stepped into this market, I got to know it because we were working on IPFS. So we were, for the people familiar with interplanetary file system, it's underlying system behind most NFTs out there. We were porting IPFS into JavaScript. And so we were working with a lot of very interesting companies in the space. And it was very surprising for me when we started pitching, hey, we should make a better design, because most users do not understand these concepts we're talking about. And these creators are mostly just, no, I don't care about that. Let's just make great tech. It needs to be the algorithms or whatever technology behind it. It needs to be super pristine. Sure, that's important, but you need to think about adoption, because people will not care. Most people will not care about that. The wizards, the tinkerers, sure, they'll care about the technology, but my sister, she's not a technical person, by the way, she will not care about the whatever technology is behind it. So it's not really about time, because it's right now, I don't think it's a technical challenge. It's more of a mentality challenge. You need to find companies that feel like design and the user experience is a key factor for the success of the project. Because if it's not, you will not see mass adoption. They might still be successful projects. We have lots of successful projects, even though they have terrible design. But if we're talking about mass adoption, you need to have companies that have design central to the whole process. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I'm seeing that I'd like you guys to comment on, but if you think about wallets, most crypto wallets are all about investing, which is not a bad thing. You know, we're at the Global Investor Conference, and lots of people have made a lot of money on buying and selling different cryptos. why are they buying and selling these cryptos? Because they think they're going to go up, right? Which is not, again, not a bad thing. But one of the things that's stuck in my mind is for all of this to work, these things have to have real life applications, right? Because if none of them pan out to have real life applications, and the real life application could be a metaverse currency, that's fine. That's a real life application. But if it's just people betting on one crypto going up and another one going down, that's a big industry for sure. We know it's a big industry, but I don't think that's not why I'm in this industry. I mean, I think there's a lot of real life use cases that I get excited about in terms of, you know, it was talked about Latin America. You know, it's easier to get crypto into a wallet in Latin America. You would, if you're a freelancer in Colombia, you would rather get paid in crypto in your wallet than have it directed into your bank account. Why? Because it's going to devalue, and you never know if your bank's just going to like block you out and not let you have access to it. So in Latin America, people are using crypto as a form of value, you know, transportation. So, for instance, we're doing a deal with one of the largest payout providers in the world, you know, that works with the freelancing platforms. And they already, you know, do $80 billion of transactions, okay? Meaning they pay out into banks, they have a debit card, great. But they're getting enough demand on people in Latin America, for instance, saying, hey, I'd prefer it if you just send it to my crypto address. Not for bad reasons, because it's better for them. So I think with the question of mass adoption, and I'm like trying to turn this into a question while I'm making, you know, sitting on a soapbox, like telling you my thoughts, is that clearly I think the importance of mass adoption with wallets and the success of wallets will be when wallets are used for everyday purposes, right? Because if they're not, well, then they'll just be limited to people trying to make a buck staking or buying and selling crypto. Thoughts?
No, I
Discuss.
totally agree, Robin. I mean, look at Link 2, right? You can use your Uphold wallet to access investments. So, you know, you've given us a use case as to why we should be using the Uphold wallet. And I think that adoption is going to be, you know, some of us use it, some of us don't, but that'll continue to grow. And as crypto grows, you're going to see a little bit more every year with people adopting that because they want to use those funds to go into picks and shovel companies, right?
Right.
Yeah. The way I see it, and maybe talking a bit about Uphold company strategy. One of the missions pillars that we have in our strategy is building habit forming everyday utility. And again, learning a bit about the lessons we got from Web 2, which is understanding user behavior and leveraging that user behavior to drive additional behavior that you want to see happen, instead of just breaking with whatever habits they already have, because that's very hard to break habits. And that's what we're doing with the whole debit cards program, for instance. We're trying to get into people's lives, be there for when people need us, and even let people forget about us, because it gets to a point where it's nice that people stop thinking about, oh, I'm working in crypto, I'm using crypto. I think that's when you get mass adoption, because it's just ubiquitous. You don't think about it, it's just there. And hopefully, I think we will get there. So someone said the other day, was really interesting about XRP, for instance. One day everyone will be using XRP, even though they do not realize it. And that's a way for mass adoption, and that's something that we're working on, making sure that people are using crypto eventually, even though they don't necessarily realize they are using crypto. You just get into the habits of people for stuff that they are already doing or looking to do every day.
Well said. Lunch?
Let me ask a question. Who wants to go to lunch? No. Just anyway, thank you guys. I mean,
Yeah, thanks for having us.
thank
I'm so sorry that we had to compress this a little bit. We wanted to learn a lot more from Uphold and
We
what
had
they're
a lot
doing in
more
terms
to
of
teach.
strategy, because we do have Uphold on the link to platform. And we have a lot of investors in Uphold, and they love it. So I wanted to get deeper into that. But if there's one question, your hand up went first. No.
I've been baffled. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
A long time. You know, I've been watching companies my whole life with the SEC's thumb on them and watching them perform and sell and be profitable and then settle. And then I see all these companies delist XRP, but then you haven't done it. And I can't figure out, I thought you were in London, but now you live in San Francisco, which probably doesn't matter in this world. But why did they choose to delist? Or is it because government regulations somehow made them delist? And why can I get it from you and I can't get it from anywhere else? You know,
It's a funny story. So we didn't take the decision lightly. We did all of our due diligence as well, and high-priced lawyers giving opinions and so forth. And really, what we came down to is, look, there hasn't been a ruling yet. And there hasn't, right? So that was our stance. And the funny thing is, just anecdotally, there were, Coinbase, everybody else in the U.S. delisted XRP, and the investors, who use those platforms went to the SEC. No, they tried to sue the SEC. They band together. They tried to sue the SEC, and the SEC said, "Whoa, we didn't tell the platforms to take you down." So we assumed that would be reason enough for them to then relist it, but they haven't. I don't know. They have different lawyers, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful. Round of applause.